Welcome to 123 Minimize with Jody and Linnea, the podcast where we discuss easy minimalism for busy moms. Whether you're a new mom in need of practical decluttering tips or an experienced parent seeking simplified routines, you've come to the right place. I'm Jody, wife and full-time working mom of 4. In 2017, I founded the Minimalist Mom Facebook group, now with over 270,000 members. My passion is creating a simple, healthy, and happy home where my family can thrive.
I'm Linnea, a homeschooling mom of 4. In 2021, my family and I sold our house, downsized to a 36-foot travel trailer RV, and embraced minimalism. Living with less has been liberating, and I'm thrilled to share tips and experiences to help you simplify your life. Whether you're sitting down, getting stuff done, or lacing up your walking shoes, welcome to the 123 Minimize podcast.
In today's episode, I'll be interviewing Linnea, who lives full-time with her family of 6 in their travel trailer. So stay tuned for some insights and thought-provoking discussion. So Linnea, I have some questions for you, and I'm just really excited to talk with you about your journey in full-time RV living. What inspired your family to choose full-time RV living?
That's a good question. We had the dream to RV with our kids while they were still at home being homeschooled by us. Our dream started many years before we actually hit the road. We actually was born out of our desire to visit national parks. We started watching the Ken Burns series on national parks. And my husband is also a photographer. He loves fine art photography, and he really loved Ansel Adams. And a lot of the photos that Ansel took were, beautiful nature scenes. And so we were inspired to get out and travel more, and we were very tied down to our life in a house. And as the kids got older, we just kept dreaming more. The dream just became more and more strong for us. And when the housing market turned in our favor, we thought, well, this has got to be the time. When we hit the road first, our kids were 11, 10, 8, and 7. So it was a really good time.
Yeah.
When they were old enough to take care of themselves more and remember what we do, hopefully.
Yeah.
But also not the teenage years where they're tied down to, a group of friends and other activities like that. So it seemed like a good window of opportunity for us. But yeah, our dream really was to travel with our kids, to help them experience their learning, and to spend more quality time together, and also to be able to be outside year round. My kids love being outside. They love nature. They're just everywhere we go, they're finding creatures of all kinds that I wouldn't have even noticed.
Yeah.
And in living in a cold climate in the winter, there was more than half the year that we couldn't be outside very much. And it was very challenging for our family that loves to be outside. So that was another huge reason. And so it's been really great to follow the weather and to be able to get the kids can get their exercise that they need and experience so many things in nature, that diverse nature that we did not have the opportunity to do before.
Yeah. So speaking of education and schooling, which you touched on a little bit, how do you handle that with while you're full-time on the road?
Yeah. So we did say goodbye to our homeschool co-op that we were a part of, and that was hard to do. But that part was probably the easiest part of the transition for us to full-time RV life, because we had already been homeschooling, and so it was just a matter of figuring out exactly what materials and things we actually used on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
And left the rest, or got rid of the rest. We did keep a bunch in our storage, but this year I went through storage and discovered there was a lot of stuff that we had kept that we hadn't missed at all for the last 2 years. So we really don't need that much. There's not that much. And when we need a new math book or whatever, we just order it and have it shipped to wherever we are. But I am switching to more of online stuff now, trying to do that as my kids are getting older, which will help have less materials that we need to have.
So you really have to be a homeschooling minimalist when you're on the road.
Very much. Yeah. There's not much room for anything. So we just have one small cupboard where we keep the books, their math books and other books. And one little drawer where we've got pencils and scissors. And then we've got one other little spot that there's some colored pencils and things like that. Craft supplies and paper. But it's not much. So
have you come across other full-time RV families that don't have a storage unit?
I don't think so. I think most of them do.
Have a small one so they're not like carrying around wedding photos or, the things. Yeah.
Yes. I think most of the full-time RVers that I've met have an end goal to stop. But I've also, there's a lot that I follow on Instagram who say, oh, we started out like that, but we loved it so much that we don't want to stop. So like some of them have been doing it for like 8, 10, 12 years. Yeah. And I don't know. I haven't met them in person, so I don't know if they have a storage unit. But yeah, I think a lot of them do.
Have something at home.
Yeah.
Or in a family's house or garage. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are some of the challenges that you've faced while living in an RV? If you have like the top 2 that come to mind.
Well, I think that challenges are relative to your personality.
Sure.
I am a planner. I love to have things planned out. And the reality of RV life is that as much as you can try, things always change. And so it's been very challenging for me personally, stretching for me to not have a very, like, everything always planned out, which can be hard because you always have this temporary feeling.
Right.
It's always temporary wherever you are. And that's the whole point. And that's the reason we're doing it, because we want to travel. But it can be a little unsettling for me at times where it's like, oh, where are we going to be? But I've met other people that just astounded me. They just hop in their RV and they drive down the road. Oh, how about that place over there? And they just pull in and sure, we'll stay here tonight. And I could never do that. We have never done that. But so everybody's different. And I know some other friends who they can't sit still. They love moving around. So to them, it's just like pure joy. So I would say depends on your personality. But that for me has been a challenge that, and the work that comes along with it, because it is a lot of work to plan and research. You don't want to, especially if you're going to stay somewhere for more than, a few nights. Like in the winter, if you're trying to pick a place to be for a month or 2 or 3, you want to know, is it going to be safe? Are there grocery stores nearby? Stuff like that. You have to do your research. And it's a lot of work. And then you might find a place you like and then you call and they don't have any openings. So then you have to go back and look again. The work is worth it. But that definitely, sometimes I feel like taking a break from that second part-time job of making the travel plans. But
have you ever had where you didn't have, your reservation was coming to a close and somebody else was going to have it, and then you didn't have anywhere to go next?
Not till the last minute. Like I said, we just don't roll that way. But
sure.
We've had other friends who totally do. They actually showed up at our site. It was so crazy. We met these friends and we were sort of crossing paths back and forth. They were going over here and then we went over there and then we crossed paths or whatever. And we'd seen them in Arizona and then we were in Utah at this place that we'd booked for a whole month. And since we'd already met them, we knew what their rig looked like and stuff. So then all of a sudden the kids are like, look out the window. It's our friends. I was like, what? Turns out they were just driving down the road and saw the park. They didn't know we were there. And they were just like, oh, how about this place? So they pulled over. I was like, oh my gosh.
And so they maybe fly by the seat of their pants more. Did they ever wind up with literally, did you ever hear stories of other people where if they're just really seeing they could pull into a campsite and they could be booked up for the whole summer.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that happens? Because you do hear of people on YouTube and stuff where they end up in Walmart parking lots or Camping World or, you know.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the thing. I mean, unless you're like in a really remote area, but even in a remote area, there's always going to be something. There's always going to be boondocking or some Walmarts you can stay. And then there's always going to be something. But yeah, we've never pushed it so close that we've been driving and not had a destination that no. It's maybe been like, a week from now, a week from now we have to leave. And then we just figure it out. So yeah, it can be hard to find places, especially places that are popular in the winter, like Florida and Arizona, for instance.
Yeah.
And people say, book way in advance. But there's so many different factors involved in that. If you're in a way inflexible, like you have to stay, like last winter, I had to be at a place with a pool. I told my husband, we're going to do this 12 months of the year. I want at least 1 month to be at a pool. That's just like, of all the hard work that we put in, I want 1 month in a pool. So like that limited our options. So, but if you're more flexible, you can find places, even in those popular places in the winter. I'm sure it's harder than it used to be because you hear about that a lot, but it's not impossible. It just might take more time and more work, more research to find a place and be willing to bend, Maybe we prefer full hookups, but if we find a place that has water and electric, we'll take it. Just means you have to do more work because you have to dump your black tank every few days. But it's still a place to stay, Or maybe we'd rather stay somewhere 2 weeks or a month just to avoid having to travel a lot. But, if you got to find a place, maybe you find a place for 3 nights and then you have to move again until you find another place. I mean, you can always find a place. It's just, it might end up not being what you wanted exactly. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So what's been like your favorite campsite or your favorite travel destination so far where you're like, we have to come back to this?
It's hard to pick just one. As far as campgrounds go, I really love this place we stayed in New Mexico. It's called Valley of Fires, and there are several places called that. But this one was a lava flow area.
Whoa.
So there was black lava flow rock all around. It was this narrow corridor where the lava had come down. And the campsite is right in the middle of it, and it's built up onto this little hill or little foothills of the mountains. And so you're up high and you can look out onto the lava flow and there's like cactus mixed in. The night we pulled in there, it had just snowed. So there was a fresh dusting of snow on the cactus against the black lava flow. And it was just beautiful and peaceful. And there's a path you can walk on and explore the black lava flow area. That place I really loved. It's near Carrizozo, New Mexico. But also in New Mexico, as far as like, it wasn't a campground, but a place we visited, White Sands National Park was one of my favorites. It was so spectacular. White sand dunes as far as you can see. You can sled down them. The kids were sledding all day. We went on Christmas actually because they said they wanted to go sledding. And I was like, well, we can't sled on snow, but we can sled on sand. So that's what we did. And that was spectacular. The sunset, pink and orange and all the sunset colors, purple, reflecting off the white sand. So you were entirely engulfed in the sunset. It was so spectacular. But then as far as like RV resorts, my very favorite so far was Black Rock RV Village in Salome, Arizona. That place was special because the community there. There was a lot of retired people, and there's a lot of retiree places that don't allow children, but this one did. So it was a mixture. Everyone was so nice and accepting. They all treated our kids like their own grandkids. And my kids got to know them all. They knew all the dog names and the dog owners. And they had a real sense of community. The people were involved. They did like regular ice cream socials and pickleball lessons and a sewing club. They took my kid in and like taught her sewing. She basically had a home ec class there. They gave her patterns and fabric, and I mean, they were invested, just this really great community. And so that was really special. The community was something that we hadn't experienced anywhere else. So
right.
That was really special.
Yeah. On that topic, is it lonely?
There are times, yes. We did join a group called Full-Time Families.
Mm-hmm. That's a Facebook group?
Yes, you connect through Facebook and they do regular meetups. But unfortunately, all of our travel plans have never lined up to be. We missed one by like 2 weeks last winter.
Yeah.
But they do like every few months, there'll be meetups all across the country. So if you're in that area, you can go and meet other families. A lot of full-time families buy a 1,000 Trails membership.
Okay.
We have not because it just doesn't match up with our travel. They're mostly along the coast. All the parks that you can use when you buy the membership.
Okay.
They're along not the coast, the borders of the U.S. Basically, I would say Southern Arizona, California, Florida, and out east. But we've spent a lot of significant time, like in the summers, we go home and visit family in the Midwest, and there's no parks there. So for us, it wouldn't make sense. But a lot of full-time families do. And the benefit there is that there's a lot of them in those parks. A lot of the full-time families are in those 1,000 Trail parks.
Okay.
So since we haven't done that, it took us a little bit longer to start meeting families. But we have met maybe 7.
Yeah.
But some of them have become some of our closest friends. And I know that we're going to be friends with them forever. So even though it's been kind of few and far between, it's still been a really amazing experience. Last winter, actually, we met a family in Arizona and we were with them for 2 months. And then we decided to book together in Utah a place. So we spent another whole month with them, just on purpose with them. And there was no other families there. So it was really special. We went and saw a bunch of national parks together and did a bunch of hiking. And so it can be lonely. We've had stretches where it's lonely. And then there's other times where there's lots going on, or we're home visiting and all our normal friends and family are accessible.
Yeah. So you mentioned the 1,000
Trails.
Are there any other memberships like for RV that you do participate in? I know I came across one that kind of talked about orchards and farms and other things like that. Are there any that you're like, oh, that's for sure we do that one?
The only other one that we have done is Boondockers Welcome. They did recently combine with Harvest Host.
Okay.
And we did not upgrade to include the Harvest Host side, but I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Sure.
So Boondockers Welcome is basically where anyone who has property and they have room and they want to host people for free, they create an account and they set their own stipulations, how many nights you can stay. They tell you what hookups are, any other rules they have. Some might request like $5 donation towards electricity or something like that. Most of them are like 2 to 5 nights max. Some of them are only 1 to 2 night max. So we've used it when we are doing many travel days in a row. So when we have just a quick 1 night stop on our way somewhere, that's when we've utilized them. And it's pretty slick. Most of them have been pretty great. Just way to save money as we're traveling a lot. Harvest Host is all about like wineries and eateries and like museums and stuff. And like I said, we haven't done that, but I've heard a lot of good things about it because you stay and, I think you're kind of expected to, purchase something while you're there. But people were just like, well, why wouldn't we? This is great.
Sure.
And go have a glass of wine or, get some food or go visit this cool museum. And sometimes they're like really beautiful scenery and quiet place to stay. So I've heard really good things about them, but we just haven't felt the need to utilize that yet.
Yeah, at that time. Yeah. So how do you manage like daily tasks and responsibility in the limited space of an RV?
Yeah, chores really aren't much different.
Okay.
They're just things pile up faster. So you notice if you leave one item on the counter, it takes up the counter. So we're doing work more often, but the work is very quick.
Sure.
So putting away dishes, when all 4 kids are doing it, they can get it done in like a minute and a half. We keep a limited number of clothes. So putting away laundry, it doesn't take very long. Sweep the floors. That could be 3 minutes. So, but we have to sweep like 5 or 10 times a day because it's just, we're in and out the door, and sometimes it's little rocks, and sometimes it's sand, and sometimes it's grass. Sometimes it's mud. So, I mean, that part is just lots of sweeping.
So you mentioned laundry.
Yes.
How does that work? How much like clothing items do your 4 kids have? How much clothing do you and your husband have?
Right.
How do you handle like in the desert where it gets cold and then it's really hot?
Right.
And then how do you manage keeping it all clean, and how do you store it?
Yes. Okay. Well, the kids have a bin, and it's just the bin that fits in their space. And so that's the size they have for clothes. And when it gets too full, then we just have to go through it and get rid of stuff that's too small or has holes in it. But other than that, they just everything has to fit. So I don't know exactly what number, but I'm guessing probably 2, maybe 1 nice pair of pants if we need to go somewhere, 3 or 4 like active pants that they can wear outside or hiking, maybe 2 or 3 pairs of shorts, and then lots of t-shirts. And then we just have sweatshirts and jackets for layers. It's all about layers. My husband and I probably have more clothes than that, just because we're not still growing. The kids are, and I'm just not gonna, it's just a little different. But we just have cupboards in our bedroom where we store our clothes. And I do have a few things that I keep in storage that are like special formal dresses and things that I know I'm not going to need on the road.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to get rid of. Most of the stuff we have is what we have. And again, it's just layers. I mean, you just have to have layers. I have a lot more hiking clothes now, but thankfully those are pretty thin.
Yeah.
So just wearing lots of layers when we go hiking. And then as far as laundry, a lot of the fifth wheel trailers have laundry in them.
Oh, okay.
But we don't have a fifth wheel. We have a travel trailer. So it did not come with any kind of laundry. And at the beginning, I thought it would be fine. Laundromats, a lot of campgrounds, especially like RV resorts, they have laundry. But it turns out I really hate going to the laundromat. It's very unpredictable. Some of them are terrible, awful, feel unsafe. They're really dirty. Some of them are super nice.
Sure.
Some of them are not very close to where you want to be, where you are.
Okay.
And we even considered using a bucket and like washing, all this kind of stuff. Like I thought, we'll tough it out for X number of years. Well, that gets old really fast, and there's 6 people. So
yeah, it's a lot of laundry with 6 people. Even if you don't have a lot of stuff, then you're just doing it more often.
Right.
Which is like the benefit of minimalism.
Yep.
Is that you don't have to sort laundry mountain.
Right.
But you do need to like keep up on it, or someday you wake up and nobody has anything clean.
Right.
Yeah.
That's more what happens more often. Mom, I don't have any shorts. Well, time to do laundry.
Right.
Yes. And we're outside a lot. The kids are outside a lot. So there's a lot. The laundry is a lot dirtier than it ever was before.
Yes.
Just fine. It's great. I'm glad they're outside.
Yeah.
But yes, it is a lot. We got this idea from a fellow RVer, full-time RVer, that they remodeled their outdoor kitchen and put in a washer and dryer. And when I saw that, I just knew, because we were not using our outdoor kitchen. We were just shoving anything that didn't fit anywhere else. So the only thing we used was the fridge, because we do not have a full-size fridge inside. Some fifth wheels do have full-size fridges, but ours is not. It's not a dorm fridge. It's bigger than that, but it's still pretty small. So it was really nice. It has been really nice to have that little dorm fridge outside in the outdoor kitchen. But aside from that, we weren't using anything else. So there was a cupboard with a microwave and a sink and like a pull-out gas cook stove. So we actually just took that whole cupboard out, and the sink, we took the faucet off, and we got an apartment size washer and dryer and put those in there. And then we're able to use the water hookup from the sink to hook up the water for the laundry.
Nice.
So it's still not like being in a house, you know. If it starts raining, I have to pack it up because I can't. It's outside.
Yeah.
But huge difference. Huge difference. So And it saves a lot of money too. Then you don't have to pay even at campgrounds when they have laundry, you pay.
Yeah.
So it can get really expensive. And yeah, so that's been super. That was my favorite upgrade we've made. Oh, by far.
Right.
Because it affects every day.
How do you handle washing bedding? Because I'm guessing that a blanket.
Right.
Because I know when we go camping, which is tent camping,
Yes.
things get dirty. People are stepping on beds.
Yeah.
It's hard. And so I come home and I usually wash everything before I store it because we're not going often. And I don't want something to come out in the next year and be like moldy or something.
Yeah.
So how do you handle that, being that you're living in it, sleeping,
Right.
Maybe sweating, and then how do you manage that?
Yeah, we just have to use a laundromat.
Yeah.
And sometimes too, if we're traveling a lot and I don't have time to do laundry, then if it piles up, we'll just go to the laundromat.
Well, that's a wrap for today's part 1 episode of my interview with Linnea, who lives full-time in her RV with a family of 6. We are excited to introduce the 2024 Minimalist Mom Planner. I don't know about you, but I love a good planner. It keeps me organized, on track, and motivated. We've designed this planner to keep you on top of your game and help you achieve your New Year's resolutions. Included in the planner are monthly and daily planner pages, our monthly declutter challenge for the entire year, budget, spending, and buy nothing challenge trackers, weekly cleaning lists, meal plan, and even a little space for gratitude. Because let's face it, even the smallest victory deserves a celebration. You can download it now at 123minimize.com and make 2024 your most organized and stress-free year yet.
We hope you enjoyed delving into this topic with us and found a few tips that might help you on your journey. We want to extend a heartfelt thank you to our amazing listeners for tuning in. Your support and curiosity are what keeps us going. For more tools and resources to help you on your journey toward a simpler life, visit our website, www.123minimize.com. If you found today's episode valuable, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so you never miss an opportunity to explore new ideas and perspectives. And if you're inclined, leave us a review, which helps to spread the word to others who might enjoy the journey too. As always, feel free to connect with us on Facebook or Instagram to share your thoughts, suggestions, or just to say hi. Until next time, stay motivated. Take care.